Good afternoon. Want to get on here and kind of clear up a few things that I'm seeing online. So if you guys can hear this, please let me know. This is probably going to be maybe this might be the last stream on this platform. I'm hoping to have a new one launched on Sunday. And so that one will be definitely more user friendly and I'll be able to get out more information. So I'm working on upgrading everything, making it better. And so please bear with me. And so I'll let you guys hop in here. Let's talk about what's going on. And I've been getting many different messages from different parts of the state of information people are seeing, and people are putting out information that's not necessarily correct, and it's not correct. And it's really important to understand the process where we're at. Okay, and I feel that there's people out there that are putting out information that they're doing it because they want to help. And yeah, good, thank you guys. Hey Larry, hey Jojo. And so one thing I want to be very clear is, now is not the time to start going out in the weeds. We need to stay hyper focused. And so that's what I'm really want to talk about tonight, or today, excuse me. And so, basically what I'm seeing is what I saw was, it was posted yesterday. It was talking about Senate Bill 243. It said it passed, it went to the House floor for a vote, and now it's going to be going to the governor for her signature. That is 100% incorrect. And you can look at OLIS that would support the information I'm saying today. There's been no change. Okay. The way this process is going to go, Senate Bill 243, is it has a dash. It's been engrossed. Okay. So that's the part that's been accepted as Senate Bill 243, and that has the rapid fire devices in there. It also has the ban on public places for concealed carriers. And so those are the only two parts that are part of the engrossed part of 243. Okay, so that's important to note. Okay, and what they tried to do at the public hearing is they tried to add a -13 amendment, so a -13 amendment, and that was going to add the Measure 114 magazine capacity part of that bill, and they're trying to include it. The problem is during the public hearing and the way the process works, they weren't able to do it that way because it was already engrossed, and it's scheduled for a public hearing, which gives us the opportunity to weigh in on it, right? And so it hasn't been scheduled for a work session. So the way this thing has to work, since this bill started out in the Senate and went through the process, and then it was referred over to the House Rules Committee after it got its first reading, it's if there's any amendments to this bill, it's going to have to go back to the Senate side and go through the process again, because they have to vote on it again because there's been modifications to the bill. Okay, so that's where I really want to make sure you guys understand this process, and the way it works is the stuff that I'm seeing, that I know there's people that are just trying. I don't know if they're what they're trying to do, but it's 100% inaccurate, totally false. There's nothing on OLS that would support their position. And so that's why I wanted to bring it to your attention, just so you're like, the information that I put out. I work very hard to make sure it's accurate, and it can be trusted, and it can be vetted, and it can also be supported. Like, everything that I talk about is, besides the private stuff that I can't really air, that I have to kind of be vague about. Um, this I can support it on OLIS. I can support the information that I put out, and because it's really really important to be accurate, and especially because I don't want you to waste your time doing things that are not going to help this process. And so that's why it's really really important to know what is going on. And I want to be respectful of others, and I'm not trying to call people out. I'm not trying to start fights. All I'm trying to do is, I don't want you guys to lose focus on information that's not true and lose momentum. I want to stay hyper focused, and this is obviously, hey Travis, good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing good. I just want you guys to know that the stuff that I put out is it's vetted, it can be trusted. Okay, and so I don't want to start spinning wheels. I don't want to be going off in different directions on side quests. I want to make sure that I'm on hyper focus, because we have 2 weeks, And so this is like really important for us to stay on this topic of process. Okay, so I want to rest assured the stuff that I'm seeing, I'm trying to correct it. I think the posts have been taken down, but I don't know what kind of damage it's caused. And so I want to make sure that, and what I can do is I'll try to make it where it's kind of, you guys can kind of see what we saw, and I can show you how it's not accurate. I'll support my side of it, and I'll try to protect the anonymity of the people that send it to me, because I'm not trying to start a fight. I just want to make sure you guys understand this is how the process works, and that is not. And we are still in really good shape when it comes to 243. There's been no change, and so what's important about the public hearing? Okay, so the public hearing is for them to add the amendment, the -13 amendment. They would have to schedule 243 for a work session. Okay, a work session would be like we've done in other parts of the Oregon legislature. They would go there. They would have to adopt the -13 amendment. So that means they would have to have a vote, and then they would have to have a do pass recommendation out of their committee. Okay, so what that would do, since they're modifying the bill that originally started on the Senate side, Senate Bill 243, which will have the rapid fire device ban, and also will have the the preemption ban there. If they make a modification in the work session, right? So they'll have to vote on it. This would have to go back to the Senate, and it would have to go through the process again, because they would have to approve the amendment that was added in that work session in the Rules Committee on the House side. So that's how this works. That's the easiest way I can make it. This bill cannot go from that committee directly to the House floor. It does not work that way. Okay. That is 100% inaccurate. It would have to go to a work session first, because they would have to have a recommendation. Either they pass it as it is, as the engrossed version of 243, which would be the rapid fire device, the preemption restriction there, or if they decide to add that -13 amendment, they can vote on that. They can add that, but then it goes back to the Senate. It slows down the process, and which is really, I mean, do it. It does a couple things for us, right? As Oregon gun owners, is it adds a fiscal impact to that, and so that makes it harder for them to pass, because they do not have the money. I've been yelling and screaming that for the longest time, and nothing has changed there. They are broke, and so that's where we have to understand what's happening there, and so you just gotta. I just want to clear up the muddy waters. I want to make sure that the stream is crystal clear. And I'm not saying I'm the end all be all, but I know quite a bit about this stuff, and I've invested a lot of time and resources into making sure that I can give you the best up to date information. And there's people that are helping me, that are giving me information. The team that we have working together is pretty spectacular, to be honest with you. It crosses all divides. And obviously I have the platform and the microphone, and that's why they feed me the information. They also trust me with the information, because I protect my sources. And so that's why I'm able to put out information that is more accurate, faster than anybody else. Okay, period, flat out, full stop. Okay, so I'm gonna keep doing that, and but I need you guys to kind of trust me on that, and continue to be a part of the process. And so we're not out of the woods, but we have some signs that are working in our favor. And one thing, I just want to make sure that we're staying on task. I mean, we crossed, I think we're at close to 2,500 in opposition. This thing's going to close, and actually it already closed. Okay, so thank you for your help there. That was something that that is really good, that we got that much testimony submitted in opposition. I mean, so we added an extra probably close to 750 since the hearing. So that's amazing. So good job on that. And we're just going to keep marching forward, and they're not going to stop us. And we're going to be part of this process every step of the way. But we got to make sure that, what we do see out there, and what we do share, and what we do partake in is 100% accurate and on par with the mission here, right, in this group. So, that's kind of where I'm at. It's something that it was frustrating to see what I saw, because it's not accurate, and it's not how the process works. and I know people just want to help and they want to feel like what they're doing is important. And it probably is. Their audience is it's really really important. But when I see it coming back into my lane and it's coming from my people, my friends, that's where I kind of like I get frustrated, because if you knew, because you've been part of this process the whole time with me, you would know that this is not accurate. You would know that's not how the process works, and it's all a learning experience, and maybe they don't know. Maybe they got bad information on their own, and then, maybe it's a rumor they heard and they just kind of went with it. I don't know, and I don't want to put words in their mouths, and I don't want to make excuses for them. I just want to make sure that I can stand up and Art. Let's talk about that next. Let me finish my thought. And we'll talk about 3075. Okay, and so that's where I'm getting at with this bill. Nothing has changed. We will have to, actually, my email is blowing up. Give me 1 second. Let me check my email. I hate when I'm doing a video and I get an email. And okay, so there's nothing there. So we're still good. Because I just want to make sure that as I'm talking, if there's something from OLS that I need to update you on, I want to make sure that I update you on it. There's been no change on OLS. 243 has not gone to the floor for a House vote. It does not work that way. So rest assured, we are still good, and we're going to keep moving forward. And so I had a question here from Art about 3075, 3076. And so this is, obviously, I got to be careful with what I say here, just because I definitely don't want to lead people in the wrong direction, because there is still time on the clock. I believe, and because a lot of the stuff I do is an educated from multiple conversations. I wouldn't say guess, but I can narrow down kind of and read between the tea leaves. I like to use that term. And when it comes to 3075, the magazine capacity of that -13 amendment that they just added to 243 was part of that 3075, and or like some of the terminology was similar. And so that's what I would say is, if I was a gambling man, I would bet on 3075, 3076 not going any further in this process. Obviously, because of the amount of moving parts, the fiscal impact to the state of Oregon, because they don't have the money. And so that's where I'm gonna say I have a probably 90%, and that's a pretty high guesstimation, that both of those are DOA. And I can say that pretty confidently from the conversations that have had. But the one thing that I will say is we still have time in the session. So, that's, crazier things have happened up there, but those are both really big bills with a lot of moving parts. And so that's why I feel pretty confident saying that those are going to go nowhere, which is great for our FFLs. Okay, 3076 would have shut down every FFL in the state of Oregon, and that would have been traumatic for everybody. So I'm glad to see that one go away. 3075 is basically Measure 114 2.0, and they cleaned up some of the language, but it's still a bad, flawed bill, and it's going to cost a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of new hires on law enforcement and admin. And so I it's just, I feel they're greedy. They bit off more than they can chew. And we have, the hero that we didn't know we needed was the Trump administration, because you see everything that they're doing currently is despite the Trump administration. And so that is why they're working on basically a 35% decrease in the state budget. Okay, so that's gone off the top because of their behavior against the feds. And so that's where they have a smaller pie to work with, and then they're trying to maneuver and do all this stuff to make sure they're able to fund all the things that they already do. So, it's been a perfect storm, really, for what's happening in Oregon. It's the funding, it's the contractual obligations. There's been all these different things that's put us in a position where, and plus their arrogance and the greed, that's put them in a position where there's a good chance that the majority of these things are going to fail. And it's because of our hard work, but it's the reality is it's mismanagement, really, at the state. So and we're going to capitalize on that. We're going to celebrate that if that's the case, and we're going to party like it's 1999, and it's going to be a good thing. And so I think that's just the best that I can say on those two bills. And there's still, I mean, every bill is still active until the end of the session. Okay, so until that the Senate and the House gavel and the legislature is closed, these bills are going to still be active. But there's just so much disorganization up there. There's so many other things going on that they can't necessarily do everything. And so that's where we're kind of in a good spot. So that's where I would, yeah, 100%. Art, I'm glad I could help you. And that's why I'm here, is to make sure you guys know what to do, when to do it. And this is our way forward. And in reality, and I'm going to be kind of careful with what I say, like this is the new way forward for Oregon gun rights. Okay. We are, because I don't want to talk out of turn yet. We are standing up a new organization, and we're working on all the infrastructure right now. And this is the new way going forward. And so that's what we're working on currently, is we are going to stand up a new organization that is going to be quick, it's going to be nimble, it's going to be able to, absolutely, Jason, 15 more days, we're counting them down, and we're going to stand up a new organization that is going to be able to do things on multiple fronts. Okay, so we're going to bring a broad coalition to the state of Oregon, and we're going to change the face of politics. Okay, and I don't want to I don't want to talk too much about it, but just rest assured that when it's time, it's going to be exciting for all of us, because we're all going to be able to get involved, and there's going to be tasks, and there's going to be things that we can do, and it's going to bring everybody together. It's going to bring ag. It's going to bring natural resources. It's going to bring guns. It's going to bring everybody together. And we're going to build this tent. And this tent is going to be big, and it's going to be welcoming, and it's going to be inviting, and it's going to do good things, and it's going to stop this stuff. And it's all because of the infrastructure that we developed here together. And now we're going to replicate it in other parts of the state and other avenues. And that's kind of what I'll leave there. And as soon as I have everything in order, and I'll be able to do official press releases and stuff like that, we'll go from there, and we can get people involved. And so, I appreciate you, JoJo. I mean, it's been a lot, and that's where I don't want to lose momentum, and I also don't want to lose your trust. And I want people to obviously do your thing, right? But just make sure if you're going to put out information, you've got to vet it. It's got to come through OLS. It's got to be accurate, and it's got to be something that's vetted. Okay, you can't just put out rumors. Okay, it's really really important, especially now, because everybody is so ratcheted up and we're ready to go. And I definitely do not want people going in the wrong direction here with this. Like, we need all the attention that we can get on these things. So I think that's what I want to say. So no change on Senate Bill 243. We're still where we're at there. The next step, we'll look out for a work session. Okay, so the work session would be the next step in this. And depending on when that's scheduled, which I'm not sure, I haven't heard anything. I'm watching OLS closely, and it could be today at 5 or 6 when it comes out, because that's what they like to do, is they like to drop a frag grenade for Monday morning and then just go on vacation or take the weekend off. And but as soon as I hear anything, you guys will be the first to know, and then we'll figure out what our plan is there. Depending on what happens in that work session is where this bill goes. Like, if they add the amendment, because they think that's a good move for them, then it's going to have to go to the Senate, and we're going to have to start the process over there in the Senate, and then it would have to come back over to the House floor for the vote over here, and it's just time at this point. 15 days, as Jason states there, it's 15 days. That's all we got, and so I'm confident that there's enough going on up there that not all of these bills are going to get the demands that they need. So that's kind of where I'm at. So, any other questions on any of that? So Sunday, I'm hoping to have a new platform that I'm going to be broadcasting from. It's going to be able to put more information out, cleaner, more effectively. I've been doing stuff on YouTube as well, and so I'm building that audience over there, because I'm just trying to get everybody on the same page. And it's been a challenge. You know, I definitely do not want to see it all undermined by people doing stuff they shouldn't, saying stuff they shouldn't say. So if, and I'm gonna say it. How about that? If it didn't come from me, it didn't happen. Okay. So everybody's entitled to say what they want to say when they want to say it. But if it did not come to me from me or somebody that I trust, like Tony, our attorney, it's hearsay, and I will say that because I am heavily monitoring everything up there to make sure that I can give you the best information. So that's what I will say, and I will plant that flag. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for trusting me. You guys have a good Friday. Be safe tomorrow. Okay, whatever you're doing, make sure you check your routes. Make sure you're prepared. You know, have medical ammunition, extra magazines, you know, firearms, your concealed carry guns, you know, so protect yourself, your families, you know, fuel up your tanks today so you don't have to worry about that tomorrow, and avoid big crowds of people. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the range, do my thing, and just lay low. So I hope you guys do the same. And you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.